It's not about feeling worse. I don't feel bad when God tells me what I ought to be doing.
That's right. That's right.
I don't want to walk out and say, what did God tell you to do or whatever? Well, I don't know, but I feel really fantastic. I didn't learn what God wants me to do, but I felt good. I'm like, well, I don't want to feel good. I want to know what God's telling me to do. And when God's telling me what to do, I feel like my life's in order.
That's right.
Even if my feet are a little sore, that I had to confess something. You know, here's what's great. I don't have to confess nearly what I used to have to. Why? Because I've been being conformed. And so, yeah, I don't feel nearly as bad as they feel. No. But he didn't, Jesus didn't say, come on into this life because it's easy. We'll just make you feel good. You'll coast right on into heaven. Did he say that? He says, no, in this life you shall have tribulation. You're going to have trouble. He didn't say it was going to be an easy walk and all this. So when I come to fellowship, is it about, what were those guys coming to fellowship in? They were being persecuted. Everybody, they were losing their jobs. People were saying, you're a believer? Well, your family's cut off from you. This is the people that he was talking to. This is the life they had to live. It wasn't some cushy life in America. It was you actually had to live and you had to be willing to die for your Christianity. And if you're having to die for your Christianity, I don't think they were all standing around, well, we're just sinners. That's not a victory celebration thing. That's not strength and power. So this baptism was about dying to your old life and living new and do something that's out of character with Christ. It's like a drug, and I have to get more of it, and I have to do sin more, and I have to, when I sit there and say, look, if your smartphone's got you in sin, if you can't identify with Christ with your smartphone, then come in here with a flip, please. If your computer's taking you out, then get rid of your computer and make your spouse go with you when you're using it at the library. Or, for years, we didn't have one at our house because at that time when the internet first started, they didn't have controls. They didn't have anything else. So I didn't have it in my house. I didn't have it because I didn't want it because I can say all I want. I don't trust my flesh. If I give my flesh all the wrong things, it may take me down that. So I don't trust my flesh. And I had 3 boys. I didn't want my boys coming and telling some story down 10, 15 years later that, well, it was my dad's computer he had that I got stuck on pornography. Remember when cable came and they had those movie packages on cable? You could buy the movie groups and all that. Well, I didn't do any of that because they would show R-rated movies. They would show pornographic things and all that. And once again, if I can't control it, I don't want it. So one of my Christian friends said, you don't have. I said, no. You got the movie? Yeah, it's all right. It doesn't bother us. Doesn't bother you. He had kids like I had kids. So then we're at a men's retreat. I don't know how many years later, 10 years later, we're at a men's retreat. And I'm up there with a couple people praying. And here comes that man's son. And he comes up and he confesses, says, I need prayer. I'm hooked on pornography. Now, I remember the conversation. So I just said, well, when did this start? He said, well, Mom and Dad got the movie channels. And I would wake up at night. I'd look at the guides and all that, and I'd find out when the pornographic stuff was coming on. And I'd wake up at night when they're asleep, and I'd go and turn it all on, and I'd watch pornography. I mean, that's the first thing out of his mouth. He said, Mom and Dad had that, and that's where I started, and I did that over and over and over and over again. I forget, I said it in a sermon. I said, I wouldn't go down to the X-rated movie theater, but I'll pay $60 a month so I can get it right in my home. And they did. And now I'm praying for the son who's addicted because